All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, my guy is back. Gary Russell Jr. fights tonight, and he let it be known what he's going to be doing next. Let's talk about what he had to say and the back and forth that he had with Lamont Roach and Gervonta Tank Davis. Let's do that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, I get to talk about one of my favorite fighters who will be returning tonight on the Manny Pacquiao versus Mario Barrios fight card that also has Tim Tszyu as well as Sebastian Fundora fighting on that card in a rematch of a terrific fight that they had a few years ago. One that wound up being kind of controversial because of a big cut that happened over Tim Tszyu's head, but good card. And I'm especially happy about the fact that Gary Russell Jr. is returning. Now, it kind of slipped underneath my radar that Gary was returning. If you do not know who Gary Russell Jr. is, you guys have been really missed out on a terrific fighter. My personal opinion is that Gary Russell Jr. is one of the most underrated fighters that I have seen in my time watching boxing. Him and another guy named Kasim Uma. But as far as world champions go, man, it's so hard for me to think of guys that are significantly more skilled than Gary Russell Jr. is. The only problem is that Gary Russell Jr. had been ducked by so many people that over the years that he became very inactive. And he lost his title 3 years ago to Mark Magsayo in a fight where I thought Gary Russell Jr. won that fight, and he won it with just one hand because his shoulder was out, and basically all he had was was his left hand or his right hand, whatever it was. He just kept tagging Mark Magsayo over and over again, man, and just dominated. My personal opinion, man, put on a beautiful showing, but they robbed him. Flat out robbed him. So to see Gary finally come back, I'm excited. Now, the problem with Gary has always been his activity. So when they asked him, okay, well, once you get past this particular guy, and I'm going to assume he's going to win this fight tonight, okay? I'm going to assume, you know that the guy that he's fighting is coming off of a knockout loss. So I'm thinking that Gary, knew who he was going to get in there with and is going to get in there with an easy fight, which is something that Gary Russell Jr. almost never gets because he always is fighting the top guy in the WBC at 126 pounds. But anyway, the conversation got really interesting because when they asked Gary what he wanted to do next, he said that he wants Lamont Roach. He said, Lamont Roach is who I want. And that was very interesting back and forth took place between Lamont Roach and Gary Antoine. The whole thing I really did enjoy it because it's all these guys are from the same area. So like, for example, when I say that I want to see Gary Russell Jr. get a fight with Gervonta Davis, I'm dead serious, man. I think that is a terrific fight for the DMV, I'll say the DMV, for the DMV area. People get upset about DMV because it means, DC metropolitan. I think DC, Maryland, and Virginia, but really it's kind of just that DC area. However, people from Baltimore don't say they're from the DMV, so excuse me. But for just general geography lesson, all those guys are right from the same area. Lamont Roach is from DC. Gary Antoine and Gary Russell Jr. are from, I believe they're like from Capitol Heights, Maryland, which is just right over the border, right on the border of DC. And then, of course, you got Gervonta Davis, who's from Maryland, and Maryland's maybe like a 45-minute drive, little less than that between Baltimore and, depending on the traffic, obviously, between Baltimore and DC, but those fights are going to make money because it's going to generate a lot of ticket sales and a lot of excitement for people in those areas, which is something that, our more global minded people don't get, that you can create great fights with people in the United States from people in particular areas in the country. The reason that Errol Spence Jr. is such a big name and he sold so many tickets. And he sold so many tickets was because he was centered in Dallas, Texas. And since you have a large black population in Dallas, Texas, you have a large black population in Houston, these guys could all come together and see him fight in Texas. And pretty much the same things hold true with the Charlos. The Charlos did good ticket sales when they were in Houston because they had stayed in Houston. Really, very, very, United States is very, very regional like that. So Gary is talking about making fights that are going to sell. Now, Gary Antoine Russell did respond and said, look, he would be happy to spar with Lamont Roach because Lamont Roach said that he pissed Gary Russell Jr. Now, I'm going to tell you, man, I typically speaking like fighters. Lamont Roach, on the other hand, is starting to get a little bit on my nerves, man. I can't lie, man. But he has the right to be cocky. He says he's him. He's it in the ring and all of that. But for him to call Gary Russell Jr. a has-been that lost at 126 like 3 years ago, I think it's something that he said about Gary Russell Jr. said, why would I want to fight him? I want to go for the guy that has the belt, right? Gary Antoine Russell. Lamont Roach don't want no smoke with Gary Antoine Russell. And the way that Gary Antoine Russell, because Gary Antoine Russell, you should know, is Gary Russell Jr.'s younger brother, and he is the WBA champion. So I would think that Lamont Roach would have enough sense to know, you should probably stay with the smaller one and stay away from Gary Antoine Russell, because Gary Antoine Russell, my personal opinion, would beat the brakes off of Lamont Roach. I can't see Lamont Roach being able to keep that guy up off of him. I just think Lamont is a little bit, maybe a little bit too small. But anyway it goes, I'll still take the fight. I love this stuff. The fact that these guys in the DMV are talking back and forth to each other, because again, it's one of the best areas and they produce some of the best fighters in boxing. And all that, along with obviously Ohio, has a lot of really great fighters as well. But man, I'm loving it. And I'm just excited to see that Gary Russell Jr. is finally back in the ring. Watch how this man fights, man. It's a shame what happened to him towards the end of his career with all of that garbage that Bill Haney and Devin Haney put on that man's head, trying to frame him for a duck and tried to just dog the man out like that, man, towards the end of his career. It was a ridiculous situation. But anyway, can't wait to see the fight tonight. Make sure you guys go buy that. But that's all I got on this one. Thank y'all so much for checking in. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.